Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're watching the eagle's nest here in Minnesota again. This is Nancy sitting on the nest after being there all night. She gets up and does a little stretch and kind of dries herself off a little bit. It was a cold and wet night the night before. They're still sitting on a single egg that they have in the nest. They had laid 2 eggs and we're not sure if this is the first egg or the second egg, so we're kind of watching to see if it will hatch today, and if it doesn't hatch today, then it's probably the second egg and it'll probably be a few days out. And so she's kind of got up and around this morning, and soon Bo shows up here. He's wants to come and take his shift and give her a break after being on the nest all night. So this is the dad, Bo. So he comes in and Nancy will get up and let him take his turn as she goes probably off to find herself some breakfast. So they switch and off Nancy goes. The camera is still pretty zoomed in at this point, so we haven't got a good shot of the egg this morning. So Bo sits and waits. Here the camera zooms in later on about 9 o'clock. I'm not in control of the camera, the DNR is. And at this point Nancy shows back up with some more nesting material. She's got a twig that she's brought in, trying to arrange it around on the nest. Bo is going to try and help her out here a little bit, and it's at this point when they switch when we get our first good look at the egg this morning. You can see it there between them. Bo almost steps on it as he steps over it. They're trying to arrange this twig. But I can see the egg there, and I don't see any cracks in it at all. I don't see that it's hatching yet. I believe Nancy will take her turn on the egg here, and Bo will fly off to go find himself something to eat for breakfast at this point. So the watch for the hatching of the egg continues. Here it is a little bit later in the morning, about 9:20. Nancy gets up and moves around on the egg. You can kind of see it there again. Okay, I don't see anything hatching at this point. This is later in the morning. It's about 11:30 now. I think this is Bo on the nest at this point. So they must have switched at some point. He's kind of rolling the egg and moving around, taking a look at it. But I still can't see any cracks in the egg that it's hatching. The camera does zoom in here at this point, but his wings are kind of blocking it, so you can't really get a good view of the egg. Here we are. It's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon on the 22nd. Nancy shows back up with some more nesting material. They're definitely in nesting mode. So the question is this egg going to hatch? And it depends on if it's the first egg they laid or the second one. If it's the first egg, then it should be hatching today or any time. If it's the second egg, it might have a couple of more days to go. But we don't know which egg it is. Only one egg survived. One of them got cracked earlier, about a week ago. And so Nancy's brought the material back in. Bo, the dad, doesn't seem to want to leave. He's like, I'm doing fine here. He's usually this way. He's sometimes hard for Nancy to get him off the nest. And so I think they kind of arrange the nesting material here some more. I believe eventually Bo here gets up. Yeah, he's like, okay. Finally he gets up. Nancy's got him to get out of the way. She'll take that extra branch she's got in her mouth and kind of rearrange it around the nest. And Bo will go fly off to see if he can find maybe some lunch or dinner. So she arranged the nest a little bit more, and then she takes a turn back on the egg. We really don't get a really good view of the egg at this point, so we still can't tell if it's hatching. It's only been like 10 minutes, and Bo shows back up with some more nesting material. Looks like he's brought a bouquet of leaves for Nancy. And so he goes to work on the nest to try and rearrange it some more. He brought in these leaves here for some extra nesting material. these eagles are definitely in nesting mode. And so they're eagerly anticipating their egg to hatch. And Bo was only gone probably, like I said, maybe 10 minutes. I think he starts moving the nest around some more. Nancy gets annoyed at this point and decides to fly off. Bo takes his turn back on the egg. And we still don't have a really good view of it at this point. The big leaves he brought in kind of blocks our view. So here we are probably 20 minutes later. Bo's on the nest and he's excited about something. I'm not sure what he sees or what's around him, but he's definitely excited about something flying around. And since I can't control the camera, I can't zoom out or zoom in, so I don't know if Nancy's flying around at this point or if there's some other predator that's around. I guess maybe not a predator because eagles are apex predators, but maybe there's another eagle flying around. So I'm not sure really what he's going after. So he continues to look at something and make some vocalizations at it. And then eventually he's going to get up off the nest and fly away. So I'm thinking maybe it's Nancy that he sees. Otherwise, I'm not sure why he would get off the nest and leave the egg unprotected. So he's still looking around for something. Finally, he gets up and he takes off. And it's about 1:39, you can see down in the corner. And then here's a few minutes later at 1:42, Nancy comes flying in and takes a turn back on the egg. So I'm not sure what transpired there. I guess it was probably Nancy that he saw flying around when he got up and left. And then Nancy came back to take her turn on the nest. So here we are about an hour later, and Bo shows back up with some more nesting material. He's like, hey, look, I brought some more stuff for the nest. As he's trying to arrange it, he kind of pokes Nancy a couple of times. I don't think she liked it very much, so she decides she's going to get up and leave again. And so Bo gets back on the egg, and Nancy takes off again. Still haven't seen much action on the egg itself, no hatching, not too many close-up views. So here we are around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Bo sees something again. Here comes Nancy with some more nesting material. So she's come back to take her turn. But Bo does not want to get up. And this is typically the case, like I said. Bo usually is not too eager to leave. He usually wants to stick around and stay. So Nancy patiently waits at this point. She kind of walks around a little bit. She's being patient. I think eventually she gets a little bit more impatient, starts getting a little bit closer to Bo, maybe starts nudging him a little bit. He'll eventually get the hint here. And when he gets up, we get another glimpse of the egg sitting there in the nest. She's kind of getting closer to him, kind of nudging into him there. I think when they get up here, we'll see one more glimpse of the egg between the two of them. If you look down between the two of them here, She kind of keeps moving in. Bo eventually gets up. I can see the egg there again, at least the top of it. I don't see that it's hatched at all at this point. Nancy takes a peek at the egg. Bo flies off. Nancy takes her turn back on top, incubating. About 2 hours later, Bo shows back up with more leaves. He's going to add some more stuff to the nest. He's got some leaves and twigs. It's getting a little bit later in the evening now. It's 6 o'clock. Sun usually goes down around 7:30, usually dark by 8 this time of year. Nancy gets up, lets Bo have another time on the egg. So Bo will take his spot and Nancy flies off. Still, nothing's hatched. Here it's about an hour later. Nancy comes back in with another twig to put on the nest. And we're zoomed out at this point. It's almost 7 o'clock in the afternoon. And you can just see how massive this nest is. The estimates that I read about online say it's about 2,000 pounds, they think. I mean, it's just a huge nest. And it's probably 100 feet up in the air in a big cottonwood tree. And so Bo gets up off the egg. Nancy's going to take her turn. And Bo just kind of flies up here and lands on one of the perches of one of the branches here. He kind of perches on one of the branches and kind of hangs out there. But with the camera zoomed out this far, you can just see how massive this nest is. I believe it's been here for several years, so they've continually added branches to this and just adding more and more weight to it. So it's just huge. Bo's looking around for dinner, I think, at this point. He eventually will fly off to go find dinner. Here we are, maybe 10 minutes later. Nancy gets kind of excited about something. She starts vocalizing quite a bit. Like, what's going on? And it's only been 10 minutes since Bo left the last time. And so she gets really, really excited here. And here comes Bo. And it looks like Bo has brought dinner. It didn't take him long to find something and bring it back. Bo is a really good hunter from me watching. Like, he's pretty good at bringing in the food. And so she gets up to have something to eat here. I think a Bo eventually here gets back on the nest. First they vocalize a little bit more here. Both excited about the meal that Bo brought back. He'll go get back on the egg here in a minute. And it's kind of hard to tell what he brought back. But they're both pretty excited about it. At this point, Nancy is continuing to eat. You really can't tell what it is Bo brought in because he's standing right in front of the camera. I think he eventually goes and sits back on the egg. Nancy continues to enjoy dinner here. So Bo makes his way back over to the egg. Nancy is still eating. Still really can't tell what it is because we're pretty far zoomed out. Then eventually Nancy will take it here and fly off to finish eating dinner. And it's just at this point when she gets it to fly off, I think you can tell what it is at this point. To me, it looks like she has a big fish in her mouth. And so it looks like Bo brought back a fish. So she flies over to a nearby tree to finish having dinner. Here we are at 7:22 in the afternoon, starting to get late. Bo is sitting on the egg here, arranging some of the leaves that he brought in. Sun's setting at this point. And so I believe Nancy will show back up here to take her time on the nest for the night. So there comes Nancy after she finished having dinner. She's going to take her turn on the egg again. And again, we haven't seen it hatched. So at this point I'm thinking maybe it wasn't the first egg that she laid. Maybe it's the second egg, because you would think we would see some activity on the egg starting to hatch at this point if it was the first one. So I'm going to continue to watch this nest. I'll keep watching the egg, and I'll put out another video here soon to show the progress on it. And at this, like I said, at this point, I think it's got to be the second egg if it hasn't hatched at this point. So maybe we have a few more days to go before it starts to hatch. So Nancy kind of bugs Bo a little bit more. Always hard to get Bo off the egg. He eventually gets up. Nancy will take her spot, and off Bo will go. So I want to thank everybody for watching at this point. Be sure to like this video, give me some comments down below, and be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We'd love to have you, and we will see you guys next time.